Let us discover the world of nature's flying jewels. This is Mama and Alan's hummingbird, and this is her story. Mama spends many hours collecting spider webs and plant parts to build her nest. She then lays her clutch of 2 eggs anywhere from 24 to 72 hours apart. Mama sat on the nest for a period of 2 to 3 weeks, and on March 13th, 2 baby hummingbirds were hatched into the world. When the babies were born, they were barely an inch long, with only 2 rows of tiny down feathers along the center of their backs, and their eyes were closed. The older nestling is the larger of the 2 babies, and nearly always the female, as nature's way of ensuring the survival of the species. Mama sat on the nest continually, leaving for only a few minutes at a time to forage for food. She fed them insects and nectar. Hummingbirds are known to be able to catch insects invisible to the human eye while they are flying. By day 10, the babies have grown in their pin feathers, and Mama is no longer sitting continually on the nest. The elasticity of the spider webs that were used to build the nest allowed the nest to stretch to accommodate the growing babies. 13 days after their birth, there was a major rain and windstorm that lasted for 2 days. Even though Mama had already stopped sitting on the nest, she came back to protect her babies. All 3 had already survived a previous malevolent rainstorm when the babies were only 6 days old. By 2 weeks, the babies have completely grown in their pin feathers and will soon grow in their adult feathers. Every now and then, they would change places, which was carefully choreographed as one would get up onto the edge of the nest in order to let the other one perform a turnaround. Frequently, I'd see them wriggle their bottoms over the edge of the nest and squirt out a clear fluid. Their excrement came out the same way. That's what the black balls are on the edge of the nest. Finally, 20 days after their birth, the babies are alert enough for me to be able to film them with motion camera. Watch closely and you will see the translucent tongue out of the beak of the bird in the front, and the squirt from behind. It's hard to believe just how small the nest actually is. It's about the size of a 1/4 measuring cup. It's fascinating to observe the construction of the nest. The inside is made with soft materials like moss, feathers, and dryer lint. It's camouflaged in the tree with twigs, seeds, plant parts, and even old paint chips, then attached to the tree using spider webs. While the babies are enticingly adorable, it's most important not to get too close so as not to interfere with their growth or to scare them into falling out of the nest. If you wish to film birds, use a long lens at a safe distance or use a webcam. Notice the dark brown spots on Mama's throat. You can distinguish an adult male hummingbird by the orange band around its neck, which is called a gorget. "24 days after their birth, the babies are literally popping out of their nest. They are also more alert, and their feathers have grown in. Hummingbirds have no peripheral vision. That's why you'll see them darting their heads from left to right very quickly. They are also the only bird that can fly both forwards and backwards, sideways, and even upside down. 26 days after their birth, the smaller of the 2 babies, which is the male, prepares to fledge. The babies practice getting their wings strong by jumping up on the edge of the nest and then onto the branches nearby. It is not uncommon for the male bird to fledge prematurely, which puts it at risk for being injured or harmed by other animals. Always contact a licensed wildlife rehabber if you find an injured hummingbird. In this case, the male bird has fledged too soon, and instead of flying straight into the trees, it has crash-landed to the ground. Fortunately for this baby, while it was initially stunned, it did manage to fly on its own. After several attempts, it flew away safely. Meanwhile, back at the nest, the female bird spent the rest of the day resting and practicing strengthening her wings. While Mama is nowhere to be seen, she is in viewing distance of her babies. Mama will feed her fledglings for 2 to 3 days after leaving the nest. During this time, she will show them all the good places to catch bugs and get nectar, and then she will chase them off to live on their own. They will fly away as real adult hummingbirds, never to return to the nest. Finally, about 10 hours after the first bird had fledged, I went outside and found this bird on a branch outside of the nest, which you can see in the background. It hovered on that branch for a few moments, tested its wings, and flew away.
For somewhere to call my home, someplace so familiar, someplace still unknown. Standing on the outside, looking back at me, I can see the beautiful soul